Hello, it's been quite some time since I've made a video. I've just been really busy, mostly because I got married. For some of you know that, some of you don't. Anyway, so I can't remember the last time I did any kind of vid, so the first part of this is just going to be well, I've moved, and now I have just one room that I've managed to squeeze everything into. So before we get to the main event, might as well give you a slight tour. So yeah, my old place, back then I was single and I just threw stuff where I had space, but this kind of place I kind of designed. So, over here, just got my modern computer and the MIDI setup, which of course is mostly for the X68000 XVI over here. And then next to it is my FM Towns Fresh and my old FM Towns UX20. And up here on the top, as you can probably imagine, are most of my arcade PCBs. Not all, but most are up here. Eventually I'd like to get them in proper boxes and verticals so I could store a lot more. But for the time being, it works. And then down here I've still got my good old boombox, still using it as my speaker system for most things, as well as random boxed consoles, laser active goggles. Laser active games are all in there. Neo Geo. Yeah, I don't really have time or space to have everything out anymore, so when I want to play console games, I just pull them out. But some of this stuff, like, all the laser active games, are just down there. Random box of FM Towns keyboard, Famicom, Game Boy. Then, of course, I still have my lovely cab over here. This good old Panasonic might not be the fanciest TV in the world, but it does. My old Sony finally bit the dust and was too heavy to really moving around, so this old Panasonic is big enough for my needs, and it does 240p component. So what I do is I've got an X-Select D4 here, which I use as a transcoder, and a Select D21. So like the laser active is hooked up all the time to it, and then like for right now I've got the PS2 hooked up there. So I get and it makes a very nice transcoder for RGB to component for the Panasonic here. And then of course I've got an old FM Towns monitor, which I use mostly for vertical games, for Saturn shooters, or I've got my my rotary stick super gun in here for those games. I use the good old FM Towns monitor, and I still use a good old XRGB1 to convert the pin out, since you need a weird input and you can actually output properly. Over here is the Closet of Doom. This originally came with the X68000 version of Dragon Spirit, if you're wondering. So this is where most of the mess is right now. That was printer paper falling out. Just kind of a hodgepodge mess right now. MSX, Neo Geo, Vectrex, PS2, Saturn, PS1, Mega Drive, Super Cassette Vision, PCFX, Virtual Cushion. This right here is an entire box of basically Microsoft products, like XRGB2 Plus, XPC4. I have too much shit. There's of course my Turbo R, ready to pull out when I want to play. Down here is mostly boxes, like here's my old CM500. I don't really have much use for it anymore, but I love it too much to get rid of it. There's the Car Marty, and this one, I know I had some people ask me in the past they wanted to see this. This is the FM Towns version of Illusion City. As you can see, it's pretty much the same box as the other versions, just FM Towns logos and oops. And down here and how to run it and the MIDI information and what it requires and this version, you know, it comes with the other versions mostly, the standard stuff. The main difference is that it has a leaflet specifically for the FM Towns version, how to run it, and it's actually kind of a weird game to run. You'll notice it's on 8 floppy disks, and you actually have to use an OS disk to kind of set it up to your system specs. Hard to describe, it's a weird game. But, yeah, nothing too interesting, but I know I've had some people ask me in the past they want to see it, and yeah, there it is. There's a good chance they'll never actually see this video, but who cares. So, moving on. So, I just haven't really had the time to do any real video captures lately, but one video I've been meaning to do a while. Yeah. Let me repeat that. So, one video I've been meaning to do for a while is kind of an X68000 collection video. I don't really have much interest in doing collection videos normally, just because if you want to see what a game looks like, the box, just look it up online. I don't really care what other people have. I buy what I like, and that's about it. But this is a computer system that most English speakers from the West aren't so familiar with, so... And especially what I really want to show are focus on the Dojin games, because these are games you generally... Like, you're not even going to find covers online for most of them. So to start off with, these are pretty much mostly retail games over here. I had no other place to stick them, so that's why they're in the corner. And you know, most of the ones, you know, you got your major ones that most people know. Like, you got some games like Midgard's Gold here, which came in massive boxes. Originally, this whole thing would have had a gold wrap, but unless you find a sealed copy, it's almost impossible to find that. This massive freaking manual. Like, this is ridiculous, honestly. Just, like, they even have, like, RPG stats for characters. And this is a shooter, by the way. Yes, a 2D shooter. Poster, discs. So that's one example. So, because since this was a PC, you know, there wasn't much guidelines. You could basically do what you want. The Genpai Tomoden boner here came from, well, Genpai Tomoden from Dempa. And you got games like Tritorn Final over here, which is just massive, massive box. Too bad this game is a piece of shit. It's basically Tritorn 2 on the PC 98 with some enhancements and a lot of extra shit, and I do mean shit. According to rumors, this game has a bug which makes it impossible to even complete, but it's a terrible game. You don't want to play it. Over down here, Velusa, though, by the same people. Love this one. This game is awesome. So anyway, retail games, I mean, most people are probably familiar with, like, the Konami brick style packaging and whatever, and, you know, you've got stuff like Electronic Arts, which use these shitty cardboard boxes, which is why it's wrapped in plastic. And then, you know, you've got things like Undead Line and Kyoki Tiger, and kind of a nice box, but again, cardboard, so I keep it wrapped up just for its protection. And, you know, Kutu, there's a more obscure one. Here I've got Scorpius, which, oh, here's an obscure factoid for any collectors out there. Besides this game being pretty rare in general, there's actually 2 versions of it, which if you look down here in the barcode, it actually says new version in katakana. If you're wondering, the only difference between the two, according to a README file on the disc, is on the disc there's some like weird little extra programs that have nothing to do with the main game. And one of these, according to the README from the developers, didn't work on the original release, which is why they made the new version. The game itself is actually identical, but yeah, there's actually 2 different boxed versions. And then, you know, Anza Brothers, Dark Reserve, Witch Fight, porn, yeez, you know, good stuff like that. So then we get down to, you know, over here I've got OS 9, sound, SX Windows 1.1, 2.0, 3.0. I've got 3.1 discs and one of those discs, and got a billion things. So anyway, the main thing I really want to show in this video are the Dojin releases. And I don't even know sure where to start, because there's a lot. Most of these games would have been released at places like Comiket, and a lot were done by mail order. Like, people would make, you know, there were a lot of fan magazines. Like, here's one mostly based on technical issues. This one even has, like, guides on how to overclock pretty much every model of the computer. Good little stuff. So anyway, you know, often these Dojin makers would release their games through here. Like, you know, they just have a phone number. You want my game? Call me and I'll literally sell you a copy. So a lot of these games were basically made to order. So most of them, you know, you can just download now, but the actual original packaging, well, you'll see why I like them in a minute. But yeah, first, I mean, if we're starting with the basics here, like, alright, so here we have Star Trader, and I don't know, like, so games were released. I mean, one popular way was to use the Takeru vending machines. So like here I've got Star Trader and Demon Slayer 3, and Star Trader is actually a retail game, but was only released in this format, meaning the discs were printing from a vending machine. You literally had to write your own labels, and they generally came with a printout, the manual. This was printed out. It's kind of neat actually to have these, simply because like where it was printed out, the store's machine. And I've even got the receipt for this one, like Star Trader, 2,000 yen, back in 1993, 528, on Brother advertising paper. So yeah, this is, if anyone ever wants to know what a retail copy of Star Trader for the X68000 looks like, this is literally the only, this is literally the official release. This is all it exists. If you want a fancy box for it, you could always get the original like PC-88 version and throw your discs in there, I suppose. But this is literally what a true original copy of Star Trader is. Well, then you've got Demon Slayer here 3, which is in fact not a retail game. Like, this was actually made by the same people that did Star Wars. And as you can see, it's pretty much the exact same thing, but this was from a Dojin company, so this was a very easy, cheap, and popular way of distributing such games. But there were definitely other ways. For example, these came in later years, but CD-ROMs. This is an official Cho-Ren-Shaw 68K CD-ROM. This particular CD here, if you're wondering, this is in fact a CDR. This is a printed CDR. And it includes version 1.0 of the game, with some random things, like there's some weird random videos on here, and there's sound data for BM68, which is a kind of a Beatmania keyboard style game for the X68000. There's also, you can even put this in an audio CD player. It has the music recorded as CD audio on here. And yeah, you gotta like, yeah, you gotta like that. So, and then I've got another one of these, which is the same thing but version 2, which is, I think this, if I remember correctly, this is the final version of Cho-Ren-Shaw on CD. But Cho-Ren-Shaw was originally released on floppies. I don't have one of those, but I do have 2 versions of the CD. And then there's random, like, this is a magazine, or just there's just no end to these stuff, but these are mostly CDs which came later, and I've even got a... And here is... We want to get really obscure. Yeah, this is a Mo disc. Yeah, this is basically Macross. This is essentially a animation software demo, and this is Macross Plus Patlib Or Edition. This is not a game. This is just basically video encoder demos. And yes, this is on a Mo disc. This was actually distributed this way. I do have a Mo drive, and one of these days I'll get along to try and maybe do a video capture of stuff like this, because stuff like this just generally never shows up anymore. But anyway, next will be the final event, which is going to be the actual floppy disk Dojin releases, which I'll have some really cool artwork and the main thing I wanted to show, so I'm just going to pause this and get those out. Alright, I never even noticed this before, but when I was putting these away, I doubt this is going to show up, but on the side of the first Show Renshaw disc, it does say it's from Comicon 54. So, if anyone's wondering, from Comicon 54. I mean, if this was sold on, there's probably only like 100 of these or something, right? Damn. Alright, anyway, so, here I have two giant binders. This is how I keep my floppy Dojins, just because I can't really think of a better way. So this first one is kind of assorted. There's a lot of mostly fighting games in here, and some other random stuff. The shooters are all in that binder, and we'll save that for last. So here we have Tokimeki Tyson. Decent little fighting game, nice animation. This one has like full-on, full-on manual, full-on move list. Cha-Cha Fighter V, this is another fighter, and this one sucks. I hate this one. Here we've got Super Moon Fighter and Moon Fighter X. This one I always found kind of neat because Super Moon Fighter was the original release, and then Moon Fighter X was actually sold as an add-on disc, meaning to play X, you put the X disc in the boot drive and you put this in the secondary drive, and you can't run this alone, it needs this. So it's kind of just like an add-on. Adding a second floppy, I always like that. And here's Moon Soldier 2. I really like this guy's games. As you can see, I really dig like the hand-drawn art on these, which is why I kind of collect these. They're kind of hard to find, but when I do, I always grab them, even if I don't like the game, just because if you're going to collect something, this is something I actually find interesting. So Moon Soldier 2, I actually really like this one, really nice sprite work. And then this was his last game, Versus Memorial from 1998. And yeah, this is the Tokimeki one, 2 versus 2 tag team. This is a really fun one. And we got Sailor Arena. This game is utter shit. More of a tech demo. And it sucks, and that's about it. Here's one of these. This was a whole series of games where they took basically random female fighting game heroines and shoved them in one really shitty forward fighting game. Some games had written labels, some had printed liner labels. This one's awful. Hey Goddesses Blazing, which I don't have any manual, but these are actually original discs for my information. And you gotta like how they just put like an A sticker on, wrote it in there, and this is also an awful game, but that's alright. Here we have Real Fire. This is kind of like playing Combat on the Atari, but see, I just love shit like this, because like it tells you should take boxes of floppy disks and stack them up so that player 1 can't see player 2's side of the screen. Because it's a split screen like Combat kind of game. I just love shit like that. Here we have Racing Champ. This one was one that was pretty much lost until I found this copy, and amazingly some Japanese dude was able to kind of break the copy protection on it. But yeah, it's my original Racing Champ. That's a fun one. Here we have Profit. This looks like a shooter, but it's a gambling game. Basically, you just pick your spaceship, gamble some money, and the game is over when you lose all your money. Really, really simple one. Drinky and Smoky. This is kind of a neat little puzzle game if you like Lemmings or like The Incredible Machine. It's kind of like that in a way. Pattern labels. Puyo Puyo, as you can probably guess, this is a Puyo Puyo clone. Another soft house. They did a lot of stuff. Yeah, this one's cute, decent enough. It's a little different from normal Puyo Puyo, but I'm not really a puzzle game person other than outside of like Tetris, so I haven't played that one a whole lot. Here we have the Hokyo. This one is actually a puzzle game, believe it or not. You wouldn't think so from the cover, which is actually pretty nicely drawn. But yeah, it's kind of a match the titles, kind of like Shanghai, but the rules are a little different. It's actually alright if you're into that kind of thing, and yeah, as you can imagine, she takes her clothes off if you do well enough. Here we have... Sorry about that light glare, but the lighting in here is not much I can do about it. And here we have Liberty High Grade Custom. This is porn. That's all I'll say. It's porn. Like the fact that it's colored. Most of these don't have colors. Here we have Lunatic Fantasy. This is basically a text adventure game. Again, most of these were like $5. These don't show up often, but when they do, they generally don't cost very much. And you just, I don't know. There's something about someone drew this. You know what I mean? And you can see there's all kinds of illustrations inside it, and I just don't really have time to go through all these one by one. Emmy the Fighter, this is another text adventure, and it's a pretty shitty one from the little bit I played of it. Here we go. This is Silk Road 2. If you like Legend of Zelda type games, or Ys, this is probably closer to Ys. This is going to be the closest you're going to get on the X68000, well, besides Ys itself. Though it's a very cute game, but yeah, you get like tools, so to speak. Yeah, it's very Zelda-ish, very nice graphics. I highly recommend this one. The original Silk Road is more of a cheap arcade platformer. It's not anything special. This one is really awesome. Unfortunately, there was going to be a third one of these, but as far as I know, it never went anywhere. And they canceled it. But yeah, it's a really good one to play. Lady Fighter, yeah, this one sucks, as you can probably imagine. Cecil, this is another, yeah, it's actually folded. This is another fighting game, and this one I remember has some really cool looking backgrounds, but other than that, like, the animation is awful. It's like one of the choppiest things I've ever played. There's probably about 6 Dojin fighting games on this computer. Here we have, this is an interesting one just because this is by Mix, who did the rather popular Dojin shooter Dojin. This is the one fighting game they did, and it's basically just the original Fatal Fury, but like their complete own version of it. It's a neat little thing to try out as a novelty, though in the end you'll probably, if you want to play Fatal Fury, you'd probably rather just play the actual Fatal Fury. Okay, what else we got here? This is actually a math quiz game. And see, like this one, I don't know if you can make it out, but over here it actually says like PC98, and what they did is they just took a marker and filled it in so that it would mark it as the X68000 version. Yeah, this is literally a math quiz game, so it's not really something I can imagine too many people being interested in. I do like this one though, because this has like a real, I'm too lazy to pull it out right now, but it's got an actual full-on manual stapled together, and it's a really nice looking product for a Dojin. Here we have Celsion, which is just another really cheap puzzle game. Though I kind of like this one because this is a flat-out freaking glare. This is an envelope. Yeah, the person that made this actually decided to draw and then print the manual, which is kind of neat. And then I've got the disc in the back, so like, yeah, that's the actual manual. Girl in a car, you can never go wrong for girl in a car. But yeah, they full out did the envelope too, kind of just cool stuff. Waka Waka Aka-chan. This is literally one of those games where you just run around and you try and catch apples as they fall from trees. Again, nothing really you'd want to particularly play, but nice cover. Now this is, you can probably tell from the English, is a disc magazine. Nothing too interesting really. There were 20 billion of these. This one is, yeah, it's another generic puzzle game. This is Devil Chain 2. This one's alright from the little I played, but again, I want to play a puzzle game. Let's play fucking Tetris most of the time. Color discs, woo! Blue and red. Here we have fucking glare. This is Sailor 5. Yes, it is actually 5. Sailor 5 Final. There are a lot of Sailor Moon fighting games on the system, and this is the final version of this particular series. And this one's alright. In the end, I think I'd rather just stick to Moon Soldier 2, just because I just like how it plays better. But this is a pretty decent one. And this one has a full-on like move manual, and yeah. And here we have Operation Force. This is kind of a weird one because it's got like, it's got like a nice introduction sequence which uses the like vector style graphics. But the game itself is a very, very simple, pretty much ASCII based, like one of those games where you've got a hex grid. It's like a strategy game. It's about as basic as you can get, but then it has this nice intro that, although it runs really, really slowly, kind of weird. Okay, and time for the main event. This is nothing but shooters, which I quite like, and I know a lot of my viewers like. So, starting up, this is Zatlak. This is a pretty well-known one on the system. This is one of those games that there's like, I think 5 different versions of this. Most were released like this. The final version of this game was in fact released in the Takeru vending machines, and if I remember correctly from the README, this was the final version of the game before the Takeru release. So this is the most complete version to have its own like fancy cover. It's a pretty decent shooter, not my favorite, but I think it's had too many versions. It was actually remade for Windows as well later on, but yeah. Here we have Zugia. Yes, this is an original copy of Zugia. This one's pretty popular. It's basically a Bosconian clone. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why I really like to collect these, because this is hand drawn. Just look at the detail. Great game, cool looking cover. Here we have Dojin. Yes, this is what Dojin actually was released as. Again, nice at the ship, robots. Dojin, all hand drawn like that one. Rabbit girl. Here's one of my personal favorites. This is damn glare. This is Master Striker 0. A lot of people list it as Zero Master Striker, but according to how it's listed here, I call it Master Striker 0. Yeah, this is a little caravan game, but God, look at this cover. There's so much freaking detail here, because, this is just damn, I love this one. Just badass. I unfortunately don't have the sequel Zero Ray, though from what I've seen, I'm pretty sure that one just had a generic white sheet. I don't think it had anything this freaking awesome looking. That's one of my favorites. Even on the back, there's just freaking awesome, man. Here we have Y2. This is another one of my favorites, mainly because this is one of the games that has crazy copy protection. And yeah, the only reason I can play Y2 is because I have an original copy. So yeah, if my discs ever die, I can't play it either until someone hacks this game, or hopefully the creator comes out and patches the game, or but I don't see that happening, unfortunately. I mean, I'm not really for piracy. It's his game, but this game is awesome, and I don't know anyone else that has an original copy of this, so yeah, it's a shame that not everyone can play it. But yeah. Here we have Blue Wings, the original Blue Wings, back when they were still OS software in 1991. These guys are still around, and yeah, this was their very first game. And yeah, back, nice growth the plane. And of course they had the sequel Blue Knights, Blue Wings 2 here. Again, just, I mean, you know, these were just games made by a guy or two just sitting around on their free time. This one, you know, they even full on with the disc labels on. And here we have Crossfire EX, also by them. There was originally the original Crossfire, although the differences are fairly minor. But this one, not so fancy. And the game itself isn't anywhere near as good as the Blue Wings games, but it's still a fun one. Again, nice detail on the jet here. Fuck you, light. Here we have R plus R. This is another one that's... I enjoy it. I don't really think it's that great of a shooter, but yeah, since these are black and white, some of the details hard to see, but yeah. R plus R. Here we have a Rare Shoot. Kind of a Undead Line Elemental Master type game. Based on Rare, of course. I always like the color manuals. Here we've got Tonkotsu Pro 68K. This is not much to say other than you're this thing and you shoot these things. Again, this is one that there seems to be several versions of, which have various upgraded graphics, and this one actually has backgrounds, while I've seen one other version that only had like star backgrounds and blah blah blah. But yeah, this is by Studio Theta, and I like them, so. Which they also made. Here's the original Space Soldier. This game isn't really very good, but it does have amazing music, which was then used, of course, in Space Soldier 2, which I only have a disc for this one, but better than nothing. Okay, then moving on. Here we have DirectX. Of course, this is actually the original 1997 release. This version only has the first stage, and that's it. There's one weird extra music track in this version, but it's unused. But yeah, this was the 97, and then the 98 was the release 2, which is the final game, which is the one that, you know, I've made a video of and released and all that. Yeah. Here we have Cylibs. Yeah, this one's got a huge manual. Not the best drawn, but still, gotta appreciate the size of it. And I actually have two versions, which in here. One has slightly older sprites, and one here. Cool game. And actually, if you watched my video of this one, that video was actually based on another version, which was actually kind of a broken image and doesn't have any of the voice effects. Because this game actually does have voice effects and talks to you. I gotta remake that video one of the days with the proper version, but one of these days I'll get to it. Here we have Illumination Laser. This, as you can see, was actually an X030 game. This was a very nice game, and recently the original creator actually came out and released it fully publicly, and even edited it so that it will work on slower machines like the XVI and even 10 megahertz machines, though not so well. Just another. I don't have an 030, so I can't actually play this version, but nice to have. Here you have Guy Arm. If I remember correctly, this is like a Defender clone, I think. I've played so many Dojin shooters, it's hard to remember at this point, but yeah, I think this one is a Defender clone. Nice label. Nothing else. And finally, we have Bouillon 3. This is a very simple little game, but I do like the fact that this manual is fucking huge. It folds out the comic strip, and it's not even that very good of a game. But so anyway, yeah, that's the Dojin collection I've got so far. I pick up more. I mean, I've been slowly picking these up for few years now, mostly out of luck. But yeah, so welcome to the new game room. I do have more rotary PC videos that I've been meaning to do for literally months. But the snowboard start season's coming up, and gonna be making a trip back to the U.S. at Christmas time, and blah blah blah. But no, I'm not dead. I'm here. Any questions, let me know. I might get back to you. If I don't, I'm sorry, but life is just busy. See ya.